Ladies and gentlemen of the audience, you have arrived at the fourth letter. I will say, if this is the first video you're seeing in this series, I would highly, highly recommend that you watch the previous videos of this series first and click up in the upper right portion of the screen to go to those previous videos, because this needs build-up. This fourth letter needs the build-up of the previous letters for it to have the payoff that it really, really has. Watching this one on its own will be confusing and just cause absolute confusion, and not understanding the context behind the situation can make it so that this is just weird and not insane. Because this, ladies and gentlemen, is insane solicitations. The reason it's called that is because of this fourth letter. This fourth letter is insanity unleashed. It is a monster of a letter. It is one of the top, if there's insanity in my life, insane events that happen in my life, this letter is probably within the top 10, easy. Top 5 maybe. But it is insane. You are not ready for what is in this letter. Nobody is. I was not ready for what was in this letter. My jaw hit the floor. Everything went nuts, and I couldn't even know where I was anymore. I thought I was hallucinating. I thought I had a long day at work and just couldn't understand. But no, this is the fourth letter, and this was what was in the fourth letter. She leads it with the phrase "bounding boomer books." She puts the physical address. She starts the letter with a physical address, and I had to break out my physical address. It's outdated anyway. It was back when I had an apartment in 2015, and so it was like I wouldn't have like a house until like a few years later. So basically, we have this situation where she calls it by Bounding Boomer Books. Because there will be some questions on it, I want to get that out of the way. Bounding Boomer Books is the name that I chose for my quote-unquote publishing service. Boomer, by the way, is a male kangaroo. Before it was OK Boomer. 2015 was pre-OK Boomer days, so I didn't really think people would think of boomers as something else. But anyways, here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready? You're like, please just show me the letter. You've been hyping this up, and I'm on the edge of my seat. You should be, because I don't think... Are you ready? Are you ready for this letter? You're not ready, but here we go anyways. Bounding Boomer Books. Blah, 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 2015. Hello, Tantru. Blah, blah, my name is... Crazy stalker, publishing lady's name here. Blah, 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 blah. My company is blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, free stuff. Blah, 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 blah. I love to help authors with their books. Blah, blah. Over 30 years in the publishing business, even though in letter 3 we said 23 years. I'm not letting that one go this time. I'm not. You said your company had 23 years. Now you're saying 30. Stop lying to me. Blah, 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 blah. We print awesome books. Blah, 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 blah. I would like to introduce myself. You already did. You said your company's name is. You did that in paragraph 1. You don't have to introduce yourself a second time. What did we say about redundancies? Blah 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 blah. I will send you free stuff. Blah 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 blah. Blatant bribe, blatant bribe. Blah 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 blah. 3 free gifts. Blah blah. Tell Do, 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 do. Blah 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 blah. Call me today. Why did you put "call me today" so far away from the telephone number? Blah 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 blah. I will send your gift today. Blah blah blah. Crazy lady's name here. Publishing consultant. P.S. Turn the page over for an explanation. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, there better be an explanation. Sorry about the blah 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 letter. Without the H this time for some reason. I am sorry. Did the font change? No, it didn't. But the font, I think the font changed between the letters, though. Let me go back to letter 3 for a second. Hold on, interlude. It did! Holy cow! What? Why? So this is letter 3, by the way. And this is something I just noticed. Improv, right? Like, I've read these letters multiple times. This is the first time I've seen it. This is like an Arial, like, sans serif font. Like, there's no serif on these fonts here. But this last letter, the one with the blah blah blahs in it, this has serif. Like, this is like a Times Roman or something. But like, interestingly, like when she goes back, like this is blatant. Like she changes the font back to the sans serif font that she used in the previous letters here. That is interesting. Like that took effort. Why? But here we go. Here's like from now on, she uses the serif font, like the Times Roman or whatever I think she's using here. I'm not a font expert, but like I don't know why in the letter she switched from the serif to the sans serif font that she was using in the previous letters. So by the way, serif, what that means is that like you see like the little ticks at the bottom here. That's a serif. Like that the letters sort of at the bottom have this sort of elongated thing. Whereas here, so for instance, like blah and the blahs here, you could see like there's a line. There's sort of like an invisible line that's created by all the letters. That's what's called the serif. In these, there's not, that line doesn't exist. Like it's really blunt and curvy. And so like there's like big gaps between the letters here. Whereas like with the serif, it kind of creates this line here. That's the difference between a sans serif. So you see these H's have like these elongated like little tails. Whereas like in this one, for instance, it does not. So there's like no tails on these things. That's what sans serif means, just so you're aware. Anyways, this is not Font 101. Let's go back now that we've discussed the font issue that I just discovered just now and have no clue. Anyways, sorry about the blah 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 letter. She has a name for it, by the way. She named it. Oh no. I am sorry. I told you in the last letter that it would be the last one. So you are aware you broke your promise. But after I didn't hear from you again, I just had to give it one more shot to get your attention. This is the 4th letter I have sent to you, and I really mean it, and really will be the last. At this point, there's a chance you seeing my letters. Wow. Even in this moment of humbleness, like there's a grammatical error. At this point, there's a chance you seeing my letters as blah 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 and more junk I don't want to read. You need the word "are" in there, right here. You are seeing my letters as blah 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 blah, more junk I don't want to read. So I thought I would just send you something that reflected what you may be thinking. Oh honey, you don't know what I'm thinking. I have attempted to put a smile on your face with a bit of dry humor in this letter, as well as my previous letters. Yeah. Yes, I am having a bit of fun. And that underline shouldn't be extended to the M dash or the hyphen here. That's not an M dash, that is a hyphen. Trying to get your attention and show you that we are a different kind of company. You see, I may be kidding around by my marketers, but make no mistake, we are dead serious about books. You're not dead serious about copy editing. No, just don't. Like, at the end of this whole thing, like, I've read these all in like a 2-hour session, okay? Like, I am getting to the point of tired and exhaustiveness. It's like, I'm fine with dry humor. I am fine with things, but, providing services to people is important. They are putting their money and their hope in you. And you end a paragraph with a comma. And then start the next thing with a "we are dead serious about books" with a capital W. Anyways, Dead Media Publishing Company's name here has a different take on sales and business relationships. Yes, we like to have a little fun, but we also love the process of helping authors to turn their labors of love, their book, into everything they imagine it can be. It is a journey for you and us that we love to be a part of. I think you're over emotional, and I think most authors would say the same. Over the past few, I'm not looking for a friend, I'm looking for a business person, right? I'm not looking for somebody to make me laugh. If I wanted to do that, I'd go to a comedy stand. I'm looking for someone to help me edit my books. All right. It's my job to entertain people and make people laugh sometimes, but it's also my job to share the news. So I typically keep those things separate, unlike some people. I try to keep those things separate because it's important to know when someone's being serious and when they're being full of candor. As you can tell right now, my tone has taken a little bit of a serious turn. So let's get back into levity, shall we? Anyways, over the past few weeks, I have been telling you a story about, shorthand name for the publishing company, and about how we are the company for you. No, you're not. I keep talking about how we have old-fashioned values, like yucking it up. Things like living up to our word, like sending a letter after you said it would be the last when it wasn't actually the last letter, and returning phone calls quickly, and answering phone calls with experienced staffers in our audience. And oh my God. I will give you 2 seconds. I will read the next paragraph and I will come back to this. You have some time. Look at that previous paragraph. What is the issue with that paragraph? Because I don't care that she used the Oxford comma here. She did something else. And you will see it. And it does have to do with the comma delimited conjunction list. All right? Fancy words, but you know what you mean. Go look at it real quick. I'll come back to that. We have hundreds of testimonials, some of which we have included in these letters. These are all unsolicited. People going out of their way to tell us how happy they are with their book and with our service. This is not typical for most publishers. This is exceptional. It happens because we care deeply. And all the other publishers don't? How are the other publishers still in business? Right? It's like, you keep throwing these other publishers under the bus, and it's like, how do you, maybe they actually send out professional letters? Maybe they don't have formatting issues in those letters. I don't know. Anyways, ask yourself this question. Do you look forward to calling your book printer, or does it scare and frustrate you? Is your publisher simply an order taker, or do you think of your publisher as a partner whom you value deeply? Let me put a fork in this right now. I am not looking for a mate. Just so you are aware, I'm not looking for a friend. If I'm looking for publishing a book, I am looking for someone to publish my dang book. You understand me? But yet, in multiple occasions in these letters, she pushes it into we're this, we're that, we're everything you want us to be, and nothing at all. It's like we're professionals, yet we are a partner whom you value deeply. It's like, that's not a professional. That's personal. That is the literal definition of personal, right? To me, there's professional and there's personal. Professional is as asexual as you can get. It is, we work together and we do things to get things done. That is a professional environment. A personal environment is, man, let's give ourselves hugs and kisses and loves. You can't, interluding those two things is dangerous. Allegedly. Some people can do it. The best, and by the way, because a partnership is a partnership, there are moments in a relationship where you are doing things that are practical. You have to come to agreements. You have to make arrangements. You have to have that interplay. And this is coming from somebody who doesn't have any of that, so take my word as for the grain of salt. I certainly don't have expert in the relationship field. But as far as business goes, like, professional is professional, and personal partnerships is personal partnerships. Don't interlude the two. Just ranting, man. My last question is, would you like to work with someone who cares about your book as much as you do? If so, call or email me. If not, good luck to you. Thank you. Thanks for your time and indulgence. Crazy Name Publishing Consultant. So, I said I was going to come back to that. So did you find the issue? Let's go over this again. Over the past few weeks, I've been telling you a story about blah and blah, blah, the company. I keep talking to you about how we have old-fashioned values. Things like, that like is a push towards a bulleted list. Living up to our word, comma, and returning phone calls quickly, comma, and answering phones with experienced staffers in our office. The issue here is that she starts the bullet list with living up to our word. She puts the conjunction. She puts the comma and the conjunction. So to me, this kind of ruins the entire reason for having a comma in the first place. The reason you put a comma there is they say, so this is how the sentence should read. I keep talking about how we have old-fashioned values. Things like living up to our word, returning phone calls quickly, and answering phone calls with experienced staffers in our office. There is no reason for that and. The and is replaced by the comma. You don't need and. If you're going to do that, you may as well get rid of the comma, right? To me, that's not even Oxford versus sans Oxford. That is just like you're being redundant with your comma conjunctions and conjunctions. And by the way, redundancy is a word that I've used a lot in this series of videos because there is a lot of redundancy. And by the way, once again, she's making the assumptions. Like, this entire letter is based on an assumption. She literally has not heard from me. She hasn't heard a word from the customer. In the third range of letters here, she basically goes in and goes, there could be 8 reasons that I haven't heard from you. And by the way, there's actually 9 in her. Like, the first one is that you died. And she doesn't even put that as a reason. She puts that as her lead. So basically, there are 9 reasons in her letter. That's actually something I didn't notice in the last episode, but I'm going to point it out here. This is reason number 9. You died. Right? Is there a reason, or you're missing, right? There's some foul play at hand, which, by the way, is the most entertaining reason. But that could be a legitimate reason. So she goes through all these reasons, like you're still buried up to your ears, you're still very busy, you think people haven't been doing a good job, you don't trust publishers because people are horrible people and they break promises all the time. Number 1 is that you currently are in a relationship with another publisher and you don't want to break that relationship for this lady's sake, and this lady is like, well, when she disappoints you, give me a call. And then the other reasons are, like, you've already printed it, and, I did at the point that I was receiving these letters, all you care about is an ebook. Well, I did do physical copies mostly for the sake of Fred Patton, because he wouldn't review it if it was an ebook. everyone else uses ebooks, Fred. Rest in peace, man. Anyways, you don't care about the quality or personal service. That's an attack assumption almost. You didn't even read the book and can't figure out. You didn't even write a book and can't figure out why I'm bugging you, which is an entertaining reason. Or reason number 8, you think that these are unprofessional letters, right? So she's come to a conclusion that the reason that I have done is some segment. It's not even fully a reason 8. Like, reason 8 is you think I'm annoying with all these letters. You think they're highly unprofessional and you don't want any part of me. So she starts this fourth letter under that assumption that the reason number 8 is the reason I haven't contacted her, other than the other reason that I said in that other video. But she thinks that the way to cure reason number 8 is to literally send a passive-aggressive letter that says blah, 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 because that is passive-aggressive. If I am a person in reason number 8, that is an extremely passive-aggressive thing to do, is to mock the fact that I don't want to be solicited to the point where you're putting this thing in. By the way, I love it, though. It's a great talking piece, and pretty much like the reason that you wanted to make this piece maybe is to get people talking about your company, which is the reason I blanked out all the stuff in this series of videos, is because I don't think that this is something that we should be promoting. It's entertaining, but it doesn't do the job that it's supposed to do. If you want to do that, go to a comedy club, right? And you should do things with intent, in my mind. I'm not a chaotic person. This person might be a chaotic neutral or something. I'm not a chaotic person. If you're doing something like this, do it with a reason in mind. And if the reasoning that you're giving is that you fall under the paradigm of person number 8 in my previous letter, I'm going to make it so that, like, I'm going to passively, like, sort of mock the fact that you're annoyed with my letters. I'm not, and I'm still not. I find these entertaining. But I can see where a person might find it grating. I can see where a person might go, this is absolutely unprofessional. And by the way, it's not the tone or the ideas and stuff like that really get me with these letters. It's all the mistakes, all the blatant mistakes of grammar rules, of basic grammar rules, fragmented sentences, bad formatting, font changes, like literal font changes in the midst of the same thing. And no. I wouldn't work with this publishing company if they were the last publishing company on God's green earth. And if they are, then my God, we do live in idiocracy. Holy cow. Like, it's bad, guys. It's bad. It's just bad. However, bad can be entertaining. It's schadenfreude. It is, oops, somebody else messed up. Here's how not to do it. And that is the lesson here, is that if you're going to get into the writing business, be aware that there are people out there who profess to be professionals in writing who are actually not. There are people out there who will take advantage of Dunning-Kruger and take advantage of inexperienced people because they have a little bit more experience. There's a lot of good hooks to these letters. The letters have good hooks, but they don't. The skill set in which they're trying to profess that they're going to give you as a service is not displayed here. If you have knowledge in how formatting works and how these things work, you will notice that the thing that she is promoting is not looked into. She's like, I'm going to give you the perfect book. Yet these letters are far from perfect in formatting and grammar and all this. That is the problem. That is the big issue. And we need to take this as a lesson to be on the lookout for people who do that. Because when she's saying those other publishers are horrible, It's like, how do you know? Is your publishing company bad and you assume they're all that way? Right? Is it projection? Like, now I'm making up reasons, all right? And it's not fair to come up with reasons when you're not involving the other person in the conversation, right? So that is the last of the insane solicitations. Was it what you expected? I don't think it was. Blah, 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 blah. Hey, I'm sure a lot of people who watch my rambly videos feel that way about my speech patterns. And all to them. I don't mock them for it, though. I mock myself. And yeah, someone, maybe it's somewhat mocking of herself. Maybe she knows that she's not cut out for this, or maybe she knows that the publishing company's on its last legs and trying to really get it. Because, by the way, like, they had to go looking in ISBINs, right? They had to go looking for the ISBINs. They had to figure out my address and throw out letters, like, hoping that they'd get a catch. Like fishing, right? And unfortunately, they found somebody who actually knows grammar rules and actually knows all this stuff and kept those letters because they are a Midwestern treasure. They are a show me of what not to do. They're a show me of people trying to, offer services that they might not be able to provide fully and clearly. Maybe the person who wrote this letter isn't their copy editor. Maybe that isn't. But, if she knows those copy editors and she knows the people that should be professedly good at copy editing, she could have shared these letters with her colleagues and they would have pointed out the things that I pointed out. Random indentation problems, random formatting in technical and narrative styles, all these things. And I hope that you learned something. I hope that these were entertaining. I hope that you learned something from these. I'm getting towards a half hour on another 2-page letter, but my gosh, I find some things sometimes and my mind just goes on a tangent and I just have to stop myself and go, okay, we're going on that tangent now. But I'm glad you took this journey with me. I hope you're glad that you took that journey too. Be sure to kick that like, kick the subscribe button if you want to, not for the algorithm, but for yourself. And I hope to see you guys in the future. Maybe we'll do some entertaining stuff like this in the future, but nothing, I don't know anything that could top this. I remembered it from 2015. And I thank, ironically, Jim Sterling for sharing some of the solicitation emails he received on his YouTube channel, because they did point me in the direction of remembering, oh yeah, I have these letters that I got solicited to, and they are juicy, juicy letters, and I need to read them to my audience to entertain. So thank you to that publishing company from the Midwest, from the Show Me State, for providing me these letters for entertainment purposes. Hopefully there's no hard feelings. I hope I don't receive any Dear John letters about it. It might happen, you never know, it's a small world. I mean, these letters are unique enough where the company might go, ha, we're gonna sue. If you do that, prepare yourselves. Just don't do it, please. This is fair use. They are modified, they are performed, and I added things to it. It is a critique and it falls under fair use. Don't do it. See what I mean about making assumptions? Maybe you watch these videos and you go, heck, these are entertaining. And yeah, we fired that lady 4 years ago, right? When we found out she was sending those letters. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I'm not going to make assumptions, but I'm just going to say it as a disclaimer. If that reason ends up being a thing, it probably won't. 90%. Like, my channel's not huge, but maybe if these videos become popular enough, that might become a problem. So I'll end it on that disclaimer. Thank you guys very much for showing up and doing that, and we will see you guys on the next videos. So have a good one.